Hello and welcome to the Story Impact Author Interview Series. I'm Lisa Tolles, and I created this series to introduce you to amazing visionaries and storytellers who share unique details of their writing journey, their challenges, and how they're differentiating themselves in a very crowded marketplace. But most importantly, these conversations are about the meaning these stories bring to authors and their readers, and how that deepens our human experience. I'm also a crime novelist, and you can find my books on Amazon and through other retailers. And to learn more, go to lisatolles.com. All right, let's get started. So today I'm happy to be talking with award-winning mystery novelist Rox Burkey, a multi-talented crime novelist with a strong business background that she utilizes to help companies as a customer experience specialist. Rox is a gifted speaker and a longtime writer who's written a wide range of business documentation before she launched her successful techno-thriller fiction series with writing partner Charles Breakfield. Their writing partnership, which we're going to talk about today, is based on their shared interest in technology and fiction, from identity theft to artificial intelligence. And their renowned Enigma series includes 12 books, with more coming. Rox conducts podcast-style interviews with several author groups, and she enjoys extracting tidbits from authors, especially new ones. So I can't wait to dig into this interview. Rox, warmest welcome, and thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me, Lisa.
All right, so when I first learned about you and your series through my editor, Cindy Davis, I found myself so curious about the mechanics and logistics of how a writing partnership like yours works. So do you and your writing partners sort of own different characters? Do you switch off by chapter? Do you write physically in the same location, or do you write virtually? Tell us about how that works.
Certainly. So we actually do everything virtually. So we email stuff, we have everything in, security protected documents that we exchange. We typically have a conversation to discuss how we want a book to be structured. And then we outline or rough out the first 10 or so chapters, and we go back and forth. And I typically get all of it to like smooth. So it sounds like one voice.
That makes sense. Interesting. You make it sound very easy. I think it would be very complex, but it sounds like you have a really good system.
It's pretty good. If we have any disagreements, Lisa, we resolve all of them with rock, paper, scissors. And I'm really good at rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, I've been warned. So I've worked in the tech industry for a long time, and I've also written a couple of tech thrillers. So I'm really interested in hearing about Ichabod. Can you tell us about that technology, or maybe you describe Ichabod as a character or a personality?
Ichabod is actually a character and one of our best and most favorite characters. So as you mentioned, we have 12 books in this series. So Ichabod is a supercomputer. But when Ichabod was formed, it was before some technologies that are available today were available. So Ichabod has evolved in the series truly as a character. So initially, he couldn't speak. Initially, he could digest tons of information and did, certainly, but trying to organize it in interesting ways became something that he took on as a challenge. In one book in particular, we taught him how he could prove himself as an I. Until he did that, he could not say, I have this idea. So it was the power of I, which is much more a human quality. So it's a supercomputer, it's logic in, logic out.
Wow, talk about timely. My God, look at what's going on in the world of technology across our world right now. And that's just amazing. All right, so now let's kind of switch gears, and I want to talk about your career. How do you transition from your business brain to your creative work? And do you have any tips for other writers like me, for example, who are juggling day jobs with an author journey?
It is one of the best questions, Lisa, and it's probably the toughest. I work a full-time job, much like you work a full-time job. And so my way around it is twofold. I personally got rid of my television about 10 years ago. So I no longer have a television because I needed time to be able to write. It does kind of keep me out of touch with some things, but my co-author still has television, so that kind of helps. The other thing is I have dedicated time. I'm a very schedule-oriented person,
Mm,
and my co-author is to a degree as well. I have set time early in the morning. I get up really early. I write. Typically in the afternoons and evenings is when I edit or review content.
mm.
But it's all about scheduling.
Okay, so you're a very disciplined person, I can see.
Unfortunately, it makes me boring.
No, that's great. I mean, like that's really like your survival checklist, you know? I mean, scheduling things and you get up early and you're very motivated to kind of partition everything, and I can see that that works for you. I mean, you know, my goodness, 12 books in. All right, so this is a different kind of question. What did you do in your early life that you feel prepared you for your author's journey? Any thoughts there?
Yeah, that's a tough one for me to answer. I think I've always liked the creative side. I used to do the whole poetry thing. I probably spent 3 years doing poetry
Mm,
as opposed to any kind of, long-term storytelling. And then I picked up short stories, which I enjoyed doing short stories, and even submitted a couple to Reader's Digest for shorts, and had one picked up that was kind of fun and exciting.
mhm, mhm,
Um, but then I started doing white papers in college. When I was working for my master's, I actually did a lot of technical white papers that I submitted and was paid for. And I'm like, paid? This is good. People will pay you for this? So, and it was all nonfiction, nonfiction kind of, stuff
mhm,
at that point. So that was kind of the bug that bit me. And then my co-author, Charles, and I ended up at the same company, and they asked us to write a nonfiction technology book. Well,
mm,
technology is something that changes all the time, and if you
right,
if you get it late, it's kind of like watching paint dry because it's just constantly changing.
yeah.
Um, and so we started doing that, and he said, "I'm not going to do nonfiction. This industry changes way too fast. You blink, and a computer is, going to be thrown in the trash heap, or an OS changes, or a security patch change, whatever it
Mhm.
is. It's just too fast." And I said, "Well, then we take our technology knowledge and we use it to kill people and not go to jail." And he's like, "Yes, we can do that."
Love it. All right, so that's a great segue into my next question, which was going to be tell us about Enigma Forced. That's, I think, your latest book. And, you know, I know this is book, I think this is book 12 in the series, right? Enigma Forced.
Nope. So there are 12 books in the Enigma series, but we capped it at 12 because I decided I couldn't do a book 13. It just did not mentally work for me to go to 13. So we took the series and we said, okay, we're capped with the R group for this group of books. Now we're going to go to the Enigma heirs. And so the Enigma heirs, this is the second book in Enigma heirs, and that is the offspring, as it were, from the R group of the original series. So
Okay,
this is now the second book in the Enigma heirs, and it's only going to be a trilogy. So the
okay,
very first book was Enigma Tracer, and the newest one, which I really, it's a really good book in my opinion. And I know I'm the author, but I like the message that it says, and some of the reviews have been very powerful. Um, it, it, it is the second in a trilogy, and it features the twins. So the twins, Gracie and JJ, are the children of a couple in the R group that are now kind of retired, I guess is the best way to say it. And so they're taking over the reins of the R group and the Cats team to try and combat the cyber thugs.
okay. Take us back a step, and what is Enigma and what is our group?
Good questions. So I don't know if you remember World War II and the battle plans that were exchanged by the Germans, and they used a device called the Enigma machine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Okay. So before the R group was formed in 1939, three really good friends stole a copy of the Enigma machine from the Germans when they were invading Poland.
Mm.
And they took a copy, took it to Switzerland, learned how to make it work, and founded an empire called the R Group that helped people, businesses exchange information, save their businesses, keep their wealth, all different kinds of informational kinds of things. That became the R Group itself. And
Okay.
so it's a family-owned company. They have a very moral high ground. You know, their original charter was to make sure the Germans didn't win, the Nazis didn't win.
Mm. Okay. All right. So carrying on the tradition of code breaking and making those capabilities available to other people.
That's correct. And trying to find the bad guys. So that's where Ichabod comes in.
Mhm.
Because Ichabod's a supercomputer, and of course you can't break codes or do a lot of things unless you've got the computing power
Right.
to be able to do that. Plus, because he's a supercomputer, he has access to boatloads of information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. AI, like right now in the world, I think this is so timely. I can't wait to dive into this book.
I'm
Uh,
agreeing. AI right now is it's a game changer from many perspectives.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you use AI in any area of not writing your book, but in marketing your book? There are a lot of AI tools now that you can use for how you talk to an audience about what your book is about and why they should care and what the impact of it is. Have you experimented with any of those?
So at times we do touch on that. Marketing
Mm-hmm.
is probably our weakest link, to be
Mm.
honest with you. Because when you work full time and you're writing as much as we write,
Yep.
marketing kind of ends up, on the back burner. But there are some things with marketing that work really well. There are two places we won't use marketing or won't use AI at all. One is in the story itself. We don't use AI for that. And I don't do it for my book reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So all the book reviews I've done for you, Lisa, they're all mine.
And you've given me some wonderful reviews. Thank you.
That's
Uh,
because you write well. I like your
oh,
writing.
oh, thank you. Let's talk about books that you read. I want to know like what kinds of books you read just for fun, or is there one book that you've read that really inspired you more than any other? I think this is a question that readers always ask writers.
Mm-hmm. And I've never met a writer that did not read. I
Mm-hmm.
think all of us are pretty much voracious readers. I like thrillers. I like mysteries. I like fun things, but I tell you, I really enjoy fantasy. And
Mm.
I got hooked on this fantasy author, and he's now, I think he's into book 5 of this epic fantasy journey that is unbelievable. And so his name is Louis Vaughn. The very first book in the series is Thaddeus of Bewick,
Okay.
and it goes back way, way back in time when magic and wizards and witches all kind of have a way about the world. And so it's fabulous. The writing is so crisp and his descriptions are so immersive that you feel like you're back in the Middle Ages fighting all of these ghosts and spells. And oh, it's incredible. I love it.
Awesome. All right. I've taken note of that book and that author. Thank you.
No problem.
Um, let's look at you've been writing for a long time. Let's look at the publishing industry. Like,
Mhm.
what do you see as challenges right now in the publishing industry, and what do you see as opportunities?
Another really good question. I think that the challenges are that from everyone I have spoken to, the traditional publishing companies, they do a great job, but they don't do as much for authors as they did even 15 years ago. Authors were kept, they were, unless you are one of the top 4, James Patterson, you don't need to worry about even other than put your name on the book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that trying to break in as a published author in one of those big author companies is really tough. I think that the competition is fierce. I think with the small press publishing, it's the small little houses, you get some help, but authors need to learn to market to really be successful. And I said that was our weakest link, and it is, and we get marketing support because of it, because I don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
but I think that, the little publishing companies, we have our own Ichabod Press, that does our particular publishing, but it still means that you have to do a good quality job of your writing.
Right.
And so just because you can write a story, if it's not edited properly, if it's not formatted properly, it will fail.
Yep. And that's something that I hear from almost every author that I talk about is that that question of marketing and not having time to do it. And if you sub it out to like another firm or to a contractor or to get help for it, that costs additional money. And it's really the most important piece, I think, aside from editing it and bringing, raising the quality of the book as high as you possibly can, having a mechanism and channels open to actually reach readers. That's so terribly important for me too. I have a book coming out later this month, and marketing, I have marketing in my head right now all the time, and it can be all consuming. But yeah, I think that's a great point.
And I think too, authors need to know where their audience is. So who are you writing for, and where are they? So if your readers are typically people that use Instagram, then focus your marketing on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
If they are typically somewhere else, then focus that way. It's very hard to stretch across, what do we have, 1,000 social media programs out there that you could choose from?
Just about. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so this story impact series is all about impact, meaning, and purpose. What would you say is your purpose as a writer right now at this stage in your writing career?
I love that question. I'm so glad you asked. And it's really because I'm in technology from a professional basis. I feel very strongly that technology needs to have a little bit of guardrails from us. I'm not convinced that we should give up everything to what a computer tells us to do. From going to Amazon and buying this because we bought this last week, or having it tell me what's going to look really good and not making my own choices.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm not personally willing to give up that freedom.
Mm,
And so there are messages in the books about what you should and shouldn't do. Each of the books have always had a theory, of an underlying problem of technology. Uh,
mm,
for Enigma Force right now, it's giving up your freedom because someone promises you something.
mm,
I'm going to make you a star. I'm going to put you in the movies. I'm going to give you a brand new life.
mm-hmm. So
Maybe.
so universal, right?
Mhm.
Wow. So you're touching on so many contemporary themes in this book and in this series, and that's what I'm really excited about.
Well, thank you.
What's the impact that you hope your book will have on readers? You've just identified kind of that singular purpose and technology guardrails in providing kind of like a guidance, but any other thoughts about what you want readers to really come away with?
I want them to think, and I want them to think about what they do, how they behave, not only with technology, but to one another. We've kind of grown in the last few years, again, in my opinion, that each individual is the end all be all. I think we're all very important. I think you're important. I think I'm important. But I think it's also important that we are nice to each other. And right now we have a lot of not nice going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'd like to give readers, is what happens when you're not nice. Oh, I don't want to be like that.
Mm. What are you working on next?
Ah, the next one is actually the third book in the Enigma Heirs series,
Okay.
and it is called The Enigma Jewels. And
Mm.
it takes the last last bad culprit within this series. So it's 3 brothers, and each brother has been featured in one of them, and they were bad. They were totally evil. So the 3rd brother has escaped detection and capture and is off to steal jewels from everywhere.
Okay. A heist. I'm sold right there. I love it. All right. Where can people find your books?
They can find them in Amazon, certainly. We have all of our books on Amazon. The other places is our website. So if people want to go to enigmaseries.com, ENIGMASERIES.com, there are samples of all of our books. The big books, or the ones that are part of the Enigma grouping, are also in Audible.
Okay.
So they're an ebook, paperback, Audible, and you can get those from our website as well. Anybody in the continental United States who needs a signed paperback, Father's Day is coming up.
That's right.
We can still get one out close to being on time. There's no shipping charge in the continental United States.
Oh, that's generous. That's awesome. Thank you, Rox, so much. Again, this is Story Impact, a YouTube series intended to showcase authors, their writing journey, and the unique perspectives that drive the creation of their books. Please visit enigmaseries.com to check out the Enigma series, to learn more about Rox Burkey's fertile imagination. And thanks so much for joining us today. Let's keep those stories going.
Thank you, Lisa. Have a great day.